0, 1. Let's get started.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Black and White United Show. I'm your host Andreas. Thank you so much for tuning in. A few things to get through today, nothing major. Player spotlight on Dan McStay. I think it's due. I think the time's due to do one on him. Also, Ash Johnson getting put into the Indigenous All-Stars squad and just whole bits and bobs. Went to a training session last week too, so just a little bit of reporting on that. And yeah, we're getting ready for almost the start of the preseason now, like games-wise, where we're starting to ramp things up. So let's just get straight into it. So the reason why I'm doing the player spotlight on Dan McStay in particular, and I wanted to do it on him for a little while now, is because I just want to talk about the impact that he had in our side when he came to our club. He was drafted, or he was drafted. He was traded to us after having a pretty successful year at Brisbane, playing in that sort of hybrid ruck role. Obviously, playing a bit down forward, playing the majority of his time in the ruck. Now, personally, at the time, I didn't necessarily think that we probably needed him as a ruckman with the Cox and Cameron combination and stuff happening there. What I do think, though, is the fact that they've put him into the forward line has created, especially in 23, created a whole new dynamic for us in regards to, I'm finding more the delivery going into the forward line and having that mainstay, excuse the pun, but that mainstay sort of forward, which allowed the Myerchecks and the Jamie Elliott's to do their own thing. The problem being is that he comes to us, has a few good games, does a tendon in his finger, comes back, and then when he came back in 23, let's be real, I haven't gone through the stats and stuff like that because I sort of wanted to just more speak in regards to McStay on the top of my head and how I think instead of having all the bibs and bobs to report on, because that stuff we can all look up and we can all understand his importance and how impactful he was by looking at the stats. But just genuinely as an observation from a fan's point of view, when he came back from obviously hurting his finger last season, we looked at times unstoppable in 2023. We looked, there was times where we went on a really solid run of games where, when he came back, and we're winning when he was out, but when he came back, I just found that the delivery into the forward line was so much more unpredictable, but it was better because we had that another key tall forward up there. The perfect example is if you look at the qualifying final against Melbourne, it allowed players like Bobby Hill, he kicked the first 2 goals of the game, and allowed him to run around a bit free. Lipinski grabbing the ball off the wing, and he was struggling for form a fair bit going into that final series. But he was getting the ball and he was hitting McStay, leading one out. And it was like, this was like, sometimes we saw it with Myercheck, and then sometimes you'd see it with Elliott. But because they'd have such big defenders on them, you rarely saw a forward from Collingwood lead out and just take a big mark out front like that. Just clonk it on the Dukes, and it was so good to see in that qualifying final. And then he did it so well in the prelim, and single-handedly. I know Mason Cox kicked the goal in the third quarter to it was in the last quarter that we needed, but McStay, in those first 3 quarters he played before he banged his knee, the way that he was leading up front and just the contested marking, it was so refreshing to see. The problem is when he did his knee, like obviously missing the grand final, which in my opinion, I know we won it, so who cares? But if he had played in that grand final, then I think we would have won by 4 or 5 goals. I think, who misses out if he think probably Frampton, because then McStay goes up forward. Ginnivan might have been touch and go. I still think Ginnivan was lucky. I think Harvey Harrison or John Noble were the ones that probably could have taken his spot then. But I think our forward line would have been so much more unpredictable in the way the ball was brought into the forward line from the middle due to having that big, strong standalone forward. Now, obviously last season with him doing his knee in the preseason sort of stuffed all our plans up. And I think that was probably, this is my opinion, is that was the injury. Forget Tom Mitchell's injury, forget like Geordie at times during the season. That was the injury in 2024 that derailed our season from the start. Yes, we had a premiership hangover. Yes, decisions didn't go our way. We're lucky with other decisions and whatever. But McStay missing from that forward line for the majority of the season hurt us dearly. When he came back, and it was like a breath of fresh air. And, we went on a really good run. Pretty much, from what I can remember, after the Essendon game, we started really picking up again. And God help if we hadn't made the finals. But that one player, that presence that we needed, would have changed everything if we had it in the mid part of the season. And this is something now that I'm so excited about going into this season. Touch wood, everything works out. Not only having McStay, but having the memory factor in there as well, which allows, and we've gone over it in other videos, which allows the Elliots, the Bobby Hills, the Lockie Schultz, even the McCrearys and Myercheck to play their own game for the majority of the season. And if it all works well, McStay has the potential to be... Only Collingwood supporters would understand this. Only Collingwood supporters would be able to see this and agree with what I'm about to say. But he has the potential to dominate a game like what Joe Danaher was doing at Brisbane. He has the probably not the flexibility and the athleticism of a Charlie Curnow, but how he impacts the game. And he could, if McStay starts up in centre half forward, which I think he will, he takes the mark just outside the forward 50 when it's come through from defence and it's bypassed that forward line, and then you can have someone one out like a Membry or a Myercheck. He can kick it long, or a Cox and Cameron's rotating. However, but he's the big, tall forward, the first option that we need. And the other thing too is, if he's, and this is what I want to see. This is what I want to see from McStay. He doesn't have to kick 5 or 6 goals a game. That'd be lovely. But he doesn't have to kick 5 or 6 goals a game. If McStay can kick 1 or 2 goals a game, right, or even just 1, but he is dragging a defender out of the forward 50. If he's dragging the defender completely out, and it's one of the main defenders, and it's pushing them out, and you're leaving Myercheck, Elliott, Membry back in the forward pocket of Bobby Hill, Lockie Schultz, and then the running midfielders like a Dacos, a Hoskin Elliott, a McCreary, whatever. If you're allowing them to then rove the packs, and he's dragged that defender out, it opens up everything. Our forward line, he's so open when the ball's coming in, and then when it hits the deck, if we haven't marked it, we have just a plethora of small crumbing forwards and mids just attacking the ball, and that's what you want. And it was just the one piece of the puzzle last year that was missing that could have made things so much more dynamic and so much more unpredictable for other sides. And I think it's only Collingwood supporters who can see that. I get frustrated because I talk to other people about it and I say, like, McStay this and McStay, it's a big difference. And then, yeah, no, he's not that good. He's soft, blah, blah, blah. But it's the structure in the team. And that is something that I think we need so bad. It's one of the most important pieces of the puzzle. We've got our role players, we've got everything, but McStay at centre half forward, or a deeper centre half forward between centre half forward and full forward, starts there. He takes the mark. If he was to take a mark 45, 50 metres out, there is no reason why he can't just go back and dob it, and we can just have that continuous, what's the word? Just the repetitiveness of having these strong, tall forwards now, because we've been screaming for it for such a long time. And I'm so surprised in podcasts. I'm so surprised in other content creators. We haven't spoken about it as much, but we have been screaming for this since Travis Cloke and Chris Dawes. We have tried everything. We have tried Jesse White. We have tried, I think, Quinton Lynch. I think we even put Ben Hudson up there when he played those few games at Collingwood. Like we've tried all these things, and it just hasn't. It hasn't paid off for us. My check has, and he was actually drafted as a defender, picked up from Port Melbourne as a defender. But we've tried all these different sorts of, I don't even know the right word, scenarios, situations, and we rely too much on Myercheck and Elliott, who really, they should be second and third forwards. Always leads back to me saying Jamie Elliott isn't a tall forward, he's 5'10". McStay in the forward line, it just works. Membry coming in to help out that situation is, I think that's going to be just the glitter, the cherry on top, because I think the forward line would work without him as well. Because then if Cox was playing, you could put Mason Cox down there, and then when he does fire, he's actually a match winner at times. Whether you people agree with that or not, it's just the fact when he fires up and when he gets ready and he goes, we win games, and we won't have to rely on the unpredictability. Like, is he going to perform this week? Is he going to do a 2018 preliminary final? Like, is that or that semi final in or the elimination final, whatever it was in 2020 against West Coast, where he kicked the first 3 goals of the game? Like, we can't rely on all that. He's not going to be there after this year, most likely. So, if touch wood, we have a fully functional forward line, McStay is the crucial piece to making everything work around us in the forward line. And I think as a football community, as a football public, people need to be very cautious that if he gets the right delivery, which you look at our midfield and our halfbacks, there's no reason why they can't kick it to him. If he drags that main defender out, God help other teams, especially when we're actually on and we are in form. So I'm putting McStay in my player spotlight. I'm excited. He's the one player this season that I want to see just absolutely bust the competition open, and I'm so excited to see what he can bring and the trouble he can cause for other teams' defense. So Ash Johnson has made the Indigenous All-Star squad. I think there's a lot of trolls on the internet, a lot of people saying shit, like how did he get a spot? This is that. He's been delisted. He's been thing, but we know that throughout Ash Johnson's tenure at Collingwood thus far, when he's been called to play, he plays better in the seniors. There's been a couple of games here and there where he's been shit. Like, let's be real. But he plays better. He's a footballer that plays better in the seniors than what he does at VFL level. Now, unfortunately, this year he's going to play most of his football, if not all of his football, at VFL, unless there's just injury after injury. With touch wood, going back to the McStay stuff, we don't want that because we know what we've got and what we can produce. Having him as depth is fantastic. Do I think he's going to last more at Collingwood after this year? I don't think so. But for his sake, respectfully, I think it's amazing that he is in this squad, albeit a little bit lucky, I suppose. But the confidence that it would give him to perform in the twos, should he be able to play in the seniors, I think he's going to be fantastic. I think it just adds more depth, it adds more strength to us. It's more competition for spots. And, I think we should just be respectful of that. He probably won't be with us after the end of this year, but you know what? If it means that he dominates that game and then he plays 1 or 2 games here and there, if that, but plays well on the twos and then gets picked up by another club, then I am 110% all for that. So congratulations to Ash Johnson. It's fantastic. And you can see the players are wrapped for him. A lot of the players were posting on social media and stuff like that. So congratulations to AJ.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning into my YouTube channel. Just a quick message out there. If you haven't already, could you please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel? It would mean the world. We're getting heaps of views. The traction's been really good. But yeah, we'd love to get the subscribers up. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe, and you'll get your daily dose or your weekly dose of all things Collingwood for the fans, from the stands. Call it as you see it. And as always, guys, go the Pies.
So lastly, I went to training last week and I saw the first half of the training. I had to leave just before the match simulation started, but we all have seen updates and stuff like that with all the match sim. Shout out to the other content creators and Jen's training bars on Instagram, and like the stuff she like the commitment and stuff and what she does is fantastic. It just gives so much people an insight, because I don't feel like we're getting enough of it from the club, which I explained that in my live on Thursday. I feel that, and it was evident from even just the drills that the boys were doing, like the standing drills, just the small groundwork and stuff before they got into the heavy stuff. They are so G'd up. It is a different mentality from when I went to training this time last season compared to now. It is, the players have a different mentality. I hope I don't eat my words and the season's a flop. I'll be gutted. But from what I can see, just the way their attitude is, it looks like they're not sluggish. They're happy, but they're determined. They're going in the packs. Like you saw when Dmac got elbowed by Parker by accident. There was a even training session today. Hoskin Elliott went for a mark and Houston's cleaned him up, and they've both gone down, both got back up. Like, these guys are holding nothing back. These guys are going all out. The opportunity for spots is so tight, and it's the tightest I think we have ever been in a long, long time. Like, I think this is the fighting for these positions, and the fact that so many players in our club can play different types of positions. If you're a player in our team right now that can play two positions, you are probably going to get a go compared to somebody else who's just that one position player. On another note, Reef looks the goods. I would probably have him almost in my best 23 now, judging by the way he looks at training. And he's just doing rehab stuff from concussions, and he's looking fantastic. Tom Mitchell is now in the boots as of today, or yesterday, I think, as of today. When I went to training last week, he was running, but he looked a lot more free. He looked like he was running with no pain, but obviously he probably hasn't, but you've got to manage it and stuff like that. But it just looks like all the little pieces are coming together at the right time before they go bang to earn their spot and to impress the coaches. This video now has almost gone for 19 minutes, and I feel like I've been talking for 5 minutes. I could go about this all night, but I'll just leave you with this. The way the boys are training is like at a next level, and I'm getting excited by it. I am getting very confident. I just hope that everything goes smoothly leading into the first game for opening round, because it's not far away. It's not even almost a month away now. So 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks. It's about to start, and I think this is going to be one of those seasons. This is going to be one of those seasons to remember. The way the boys are going about it now, we've just got to get everything going, and we can peak that 3/4 of the way through the season. But just get the W's on the board now. He's going to be fantastic. Anyway, I'm rambling on, guys. Call it as you see it. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. And as always, scale a pie.